Now let's continue. After you have finished the prologue, you will be faced with an option, or basically hinted with an option, that you should go to the shop and buy a character. I don't recommend buying a character or spending your money because every game you generate about 100. You might as well just save up for a valuable character within the game like I'm currently trying to do, and will basically succeed in few games. Win or loss, you will always generate about, I would say, 70 to 100 character points, which you can spend here. Let me go through these characters. As in Dota, each of these characters has a unique special ability at what they do. Even though the models look the same, as you can see, this character is updated throughout every time. As you can see, for example, we can take the tank. My tank guy is currently a starter, support, defender, disabler. If I would choose to update him and save up 9,050 points, he becomes a tank slash heal support class buffer, which is an extremely powerful class. And like in Dota, each of these characters, when you click them, you can view their unique and individual abilities. Basically how they look, their autobiography, their pros and cons, what happens when you level the character as long as you play it, what skills and augmentations they get, and basically further better information. As you can see, each one looks a little bit differently. This one straight up reminds me from Kerrigan from StarCraft 2 when she went all Zerg, but whatever. And same as this guy, they kind of go hand to hand. It's okay, we're not gonna question the copywritten validity of this. After that, I basically recommend not to spend any money, because you have enough. You start with enough bandages, plus after each game you will get buttload of bandages, unless you want to get some kind of unique or particular type of bandages. Also in the early game, do not bother with PvP because, well, you're just gonna get raped and abused by other better characters, because most people, in what I've noticed in PvP, are extremely geared and will basically play those 2,500, 4,500 characters. I basically decided to skip that pain and basically go save up for 4,500 credit character, which in my opinion will be the much better investment than spending 2,000 something and then basically trying to save up additional 4,500 to get the next update. They basically giving you a 50% off discount. After that, you would go play hard mode and then click next. I don't know why they named it hard mode. They should have just said team missions or something along, but this is beta, so I'm sure that this is going to be changed. When you click on hard and you go to next, you will have a scout mission that is very easy. Right here you could see what kind of a mission description: game type PvE, difficulty type easy, number of players, and the loot tier that you could possibly get. Most of the time you will end up getting tier 1, because the way I noticed that this game scales, it scales basically towards the lower tier. But if you have a tier 2 weapon, which I will explain further, you can get upper tier loot. As you can see in hard mode, you will have up to tier 4. These missions basically are a little bit different than most people used to. Each one of these has several maps and several infections levels on the map. I will show you that in a second. And the difference between scout and hard mode is the hard mode is like basically, for example, again, I don't mean to compare it to Diablo, but this is the common thing that people know, is basically going from normal mode to torment right away. The mobs hit 20 times harder, 20 times faster, and so on. Now let's basically go through it. Once you enter the lobby, this is what you will see. This is your character level. It's depending how many times you've played this character that he levels individually. This is your character strength that goes up with his level every time, meaning even if you have crap gear but you like playing the same character, if your character is level 50 and my character is level 5 geared the fuck out with the best weapon, for example, or something that he can possibly get, you will own me. Just simple in the fact that you will do so much more damage, that you have so much more strength. These are the abilities of the character that the character can do, and the 3 slots that you can invite your friends, totaling of 4 players, where you can party chat and so on. Basically, also don't click the boost button. What boost does, it allows you to take your points, because every match that you play, it gives you a certain percentage of points, and it allows you to redistribute it between other classes and other characters to level them. So you could play one character while basically inadvertently leveling another by feeding him points, and so on. You get these certain amount of points after each game, depending on what level of the game it was and how well you did. But you usually get no more than, like, I would say about 30-40 points. Anyway, as you can see right here, I have 211 points. These points can be used to also level your gear. Now, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you what else that's very important. This is basically also the loot that you can change weapons in. You can access your loot here. I notice that this is the only time and the only spot that you can change what weapon you're currently using. As you can see, I have a barge sledgehammer, but I don't have it equipped because this yellow hand is located over this paddle. Then I go click equip, and voila. Now the thing is, this barbed sledgehammer is completely equipped to me. I also strongly recommend doing the same thing for all the other weapons if you have a ranged weapon, for a simple fact that the weapon type, the weapon tier correction, determines the level of loot that drops to you and how much loot you will basically get. The higher the tier, the better. Now, let's move on to inventory. When you go to your inventory, you could basically see everything that you have. To a kind of a limit, as I mentioned previously, that you cannot equip or disequip weapon here while your inventory. You actually have to select that particular character. Now, here what you can do though, you can also level your weapon. You could sell it and you can basically boost it, so to speak. If I would use my 211 points, this is what would happen to my weapon, how far it would level. It would not even make level 1. Why would I even want to level my weapon? As you can see here, once my levels, it opens up a perk that gives me a leech, 20% leech based on the damage that I deal. You know, with critical strikes, this could give me back enormous amount of HP and could basically keep me alive without me have to using bandages. Same thing goes here. Unfortunately, starter weapons such as basically the paddle don't really have perks at all, because they want you to invest time and effort in obtaining better weapon. On top of that, you could also sell your weapon and get some money back, but I don't really see the point in this, because the money is generated extremely quickly, extremely easily, and there is less loot available than the money you can spend on. Meaning, even if I buy everything that this workshop allows me to craft, for example, the only thing I'm really missing are these 2 things, which I would not even end up spending money on because it's the lower tier. As you can see here, I have duct tape and cloth scraps in extreme abundance, which I will go into in the near future. And basically, I would not even end up spending a penny and would just craft them at the expense of the crafting material. Also, one thing to note, this game kind of works in a sense of WoW or the new age era MMO IDing items, meaning green item is lower tier, blue item is already upper tier items that has basically more benefits. I'm pretty sure that I've read online that there's gonna be purple items and so on, which basically will create a whole type of hierarchy of items which kind you need. As you can see here, because this item is blue, it requires a serrated shears, which I've actually never have found. I have played multiple games. As you can see that I have found multiple cloth scraps, duct tape, and I crafted bunch load of things, you know, such as this rifle, this the crossbow. I crafted a lot of things, and I'm yet to find single serrated shears, and no matter how much I look. But I bet that it's because it's a rare drop, again, as loots in all these games like Diablo that you can play. Now, let me go through one match and show you what I'm talking about. Right here, before you begin the match, right here, you could equip your bandages. These are basically based on levels. This is level 1, level 8, level 14. The more of these you have equipped, the more basically bandages you can use in the game. As also, if you would please pay attention, right here, do you see this? Loot tier 2. Why? Because I'm using a loot tier 2 weapon. If I would equip a loot 1 tier weapons, including both of them, as you can see, my loot tier changes to 1, meaning I will get crap gear. Therefore, this game purely depends on the fact of what tier your weapon is. You could be level 100 with the level 100 account, and if you're using a tier 1 weapon, you will only most likely get tier 1 loot. I thought it would be an important thing to know. After you're done equipping your gear and selecting your characters and viewing your attributes on what you can do, you basically click ready. And it matches you with the game quite quickly. Actually, let me say this in beta, and you begins right away. 4 people are selected, you have to click ready, and the game begins.